Hey everybody, today we're going to walk you through a health check here at Fox Ridge Farm. What we've got here, we got Cleo. She's going to be our test subject today. She's very excited for her first time on television. So the first thing we do is we load them up on the scale right here. She's going to hop right up. She's being very good. We're going to see right here, we'll see what she weighs. What does she weigh? So she weighs right at 50 pounds. So we make sure we record that. We write down her name, what her weight is, so that we know what she weighed, and we know everything about that right there, because everything that we do from now on will be determined by what her weight is. Then we're going to put her up on the stand right here. While she's on the stand, this keeps her from moving around, so we can do what we need to do. The next thing we do is we stop and we take a picture. And so what we do here is we like to take a picture for multiple reasons. One, every time we do health checks, we try to do a picture. That way we kind of see as they grow and develop, as they get older, what they look like. All right, go ahead. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead one more time. All right. All right, so next up, Miss Killen's going to talk to you about how we do, or show you how we do our dewormer. We use two dewormers for the most part here. We use a Valbazen product, it's a drench, and also a Sidectin drench. We are not going to give the Valbazen to Cleo today. She's in a breeding pen. The Valbazen sometimes cause a miscarriage, so we don't want to do that right now. That would be counterintuitive. Or counterproductive, not counterintuitive. So what we do there is we take that drenching gun, try to get a good shot here, and that drenching gun is made to where it gets behind the throat there, and it shoots that right down the throat, so they don't have to drink it, they just have to take it. All right, and what that's going to do is that's going to treat any kind of intestinal parasite she has. So there we go.
You want to tell what FAMACHA is?
Sure, tell them about FAMACHA there, Miss Attaway.
No, I don't want to. I said you. I'll hold her eyes.
All right, so we determine whether or not a goat needs deworming by what is their FAMACHA score. And there's something, FAMACHA stands for something, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. But what we do is we pull down the base of the eyelid right there, and you can see that color. Now, she has a light pink. I would characterize that as a scoring of a 3, 1 through 5, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst. I'd categorize that a 3. Because we're going into the summer, where it's going to be a little more warm, it's going to be a little more wet, we treated her, and that's what we want to do. We usually treat 3s now. If it was in the middle of the winter, we probably wouldn't treat that because she'd be okay. And also she's looking at going into being pregnant over the summer, so we want to try to help her out to at least relieve that amount of stress off of her. Next, Miss Attaway is going to show you how we trim hooves. We always, while we've got them on the stand, we always want to trim that hoof. As you can look and see here, there's little pieces that start growing. This is like trimming toenails or fingernails for us. You're getting that extra growth right there because they're on pasture and there's not a whole lot of hard surface. They don't wear it down. If they were living on rocks and that kind of stuff and in the wild, most of the time that would wear itself down. Like my wife always asks, why do you have to do all these things when, you know, goats live in the wild and they can do this stuff on their own? Well, when you put something in captivity and you put them on pasture and that kind of stuff, there's certain things that have to be done. So here is another foot. So this is the back foot. You can see how it's grown over a little more. It's got a little extra turn there. They don't always like when you're messing with their feet.
Especially their back feet.
Yep. So you can see here, we're trimming that away.
Whoop.
You don't want to get too far. Most of the color there is black on this hoof, on this goat's hoof there. And so what you do is as you start to see white, that white will show through. And once you see a little bit of pink behind it, you want to stop because you're starting to get into the quick. And if you cut the quick, you end up with blood all over you. So that's no fun.
There we go. The Nigerians' hoofs usually aren't as bad. Okay, so you're fine.
Go ahead, what were you gonna say? The Nigerians aren't as bad?
Not as bad with growth as with your Nubians and your boars. Our boars they're a lot tougher. And they seem to grow a little bit faster. The dwarfs are pretty easy though, because they kind of just fold over and you kind of just go with the fold. And you don't really have to reshape anything unless you just haven't done it in a while. You got one more.
And this is one where we have been rushing through some of our health checks here of late. Over the last 3 or 4 times we've done it, so we haven't trimmed hooves like we should. We only trimmed the ones that were really bad. And so we're having to do a little more right now. If you do this a little bit at a time time and again, you're usually okay. We normally do health checks between every 6 and 8 weeks. That may be a little more than what some would do it, but we only deworm when necessary, and we do it every 6 to 8 weeks because we're out here in an area that stays predominantly wet, and in the south it's a lot warmer, so we've got that. Now the last thing we're going to do, this is an annual event. We've got a CDT vaccine. The CD part is, well, let me read it. This is Clostridium type C and D, and tetanus is what we're given. We give this once a year to our established does and bucks, and then the kids will get it about 6 weeks old, and then we'll give it to them again 30 days later. But this is an annual thing, so everybody out here that's on our farm that we are keeping here, we give 2 milliliters or 2 cc's of injection right there. This is called a sub-Q. So what it is subcutaneous. It's right under the skin. We pull the skin out right here underneath. We always use the front right shoulder. We always use that because this particular injection will leave a little bit of a bump if you don't rub it down well enough. And sometimes you see bumps on goats. They can be abscesses or things like that. If we see a bump right here behind that shoulder, we know 90% of the time it's from us giving this shot, because it can stick around for a few months. So we always want to make sure we do that. And then we get rid of our sharps in a sharp container and get ready to do another one. All right, so that's our health check. Thanks for showing up. You can see Cleo's done now. She's ready to go back into the pen.
But thanks
for thanks for visiting with us.